Hi, I'm Dick Eydt with Bites by Eydt. We have a small little boutique catering company based in Atlanta, Georgia. We do parties up and down the East Coast. We were just in Nantucket. We do Connecticut, Tennessee, and Florida. And today we're going to do a ratatouille with a slight twist to it. We're going to add some jalapeno peppers to it, and then to counter that, we're going to add some honey. And it's one of our sponsors, the Bear Honey. As part of my new routine, my eating routine, since I was diagnosed with pre-diabetes several months ago, I changed my diet of vegetables and proteins. I cut out all nicotine, caffeine, and alcohol, of course all carbs and sugars, and through diet it was able to process the excess blood sugar, and now I'm no longer diabetic, so yay for me. So we're going to saute up all these vegetables, the eggplant, the tomatoes, the peppers, zucchini, the onions, and the jalapenos in separate pans. And then we're going to saute them in separate pans, and then we'll add them together along with the tomato, chunky tomatoes. So let's begin. So as always, we'll start with the Vidalia onions, which are my favorite, and we'll trim these guys off and peel it. Sort of the end of the season for Vidalias here in New York. They'll start coming out in the next month or so in Georgia, but they are naturally sweet and they're quite yummy. In addition to this recipe, my friend Ian Winslade of Mission and Market restaurant in Atlanta, he has 2 other restaurants, and I spent a day with him and picked up some new recipes. Last season I flew out to Seattle to my brother's restaurant and picked up some new recipes and shared those with you. So I thought it'd be nice to work with Ian. He had worked with my brother at Le Bernardin in New York, and I had worked with him in Los Angeles at Opus Restaurant, and he's a wonderful chef and does a great job. This is his recipe. I modified it with the jalapenos and the honey. I think the crew will like it. They always do like my food. They're always so nice. They always come back whenever I'm in town filming because they like the food. So that's good. Again, we'll cut these into, probably 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch pieces. Again, I always like it when I can taste the onions, when I can taste the tomatoes. I don't like it a small dice. I like it a little more of a country style, a little thicker. I like the texture in the mouth. And for this filming, what I'll do is cut all the vegetables and then transfer them. Normally what I would do is, if I was cooking this at home, I would do whatever takes longest, which are the onions. So I'd cook those up first, and while those are being sauteed, then I'd come back and I would do the eggplant, and then I'd come back to the peppers, the jalapenos, the zucchini, in that type of order. These are nice red peppers. Again, when I do my meal prep every week, I do broccoli and zucchini and squash and red peppers, yellow peppers, orange peppers, Brussels sprouts, and I cook them up 1 day a week and let them cool down. I store them in Ziploc bags, put them in the fridge. I cook up my proteins, my chicken breasts, my salmon and smoked salmon, and I have that for breakfast, lunch, and for dinner. And by doing so, I was able to bring my blood sugar levels down to a normal level. And I did it in a little over 2 months. The doctors I go to, who are nutritionists and doctors, they said the most it ever takes is 7 months. Again, I cut out the caffeine, which was a little difficult to do. Driving here from Connecticut One morning I almost fell asleep at 6 in the morning, but it was in the wintertime, rolled down the windows. The cold air woke me up, and all was good. The alcohol, you know, is not that bad. Even the carbs wasn't hard to give up, or I love breads. That was a little more difficult, but by having a ton of vegetables every day, it really made me full. So I didn't need them. Okay, got the peppers done. I'll just cut off the ends, and I'll cut these in half, and then I'll cut these into quarters. Again, all the vegetables are going to be about the same size. Also, they'll cook about the same time for each vegetable. This is our busy season coming up in May. It's actually been busy all year round. Last holiday season was very busy. I do a lot of volunteer work. I donate my time and my dinners I'll do as a auction item for some of the schools, for Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And I just did one for the Atlanta Humane Society, where I donated my time for a dinner for 12 people. We raised about little under $3,000 for that, for my dinner. And overall, for the Atlanta Humane Society, we raised over $1 million. So there were a couple hundred people that came to the called a Bow Wow lunch. One of my clients is the co-chair of it, and she asked me if I would donate a dinner, and I said absolutely, I'll do that for you. I have a dog, love my dog, and the great thing about the Atlanta Humane Society, it is a kill-free facility. So the average is about 18 days before they find a home for a dog or a cat. They have a hospital on site, and they also have therapists there. So if the dogs have been abused, psychiatrists will go and help the dogs, bring them back to normal, and find them a new home. So I get a lot of satisfaction out of doing that. Let me switch knives to my smaller knife. Again, whenever I cut, I always go down. So if it slips, it's not going to cut me. It'll just cut the tomato. These are heirloom tomatoes. They got a local market here in Connecticut. Nice thing about this dish is, you can make it on a Sunday and it will last all week long. And just take a little bit out and you get a nice mixture of vegetables for you. I make a homemade tomato sauce, and with that I also use either jalapenos or serrano chilies that I add to it. I do the tomato sauce with, of course, the tomatoes, but I also use a lot of eggplant. The chilies really give it's not like it's going to smash you in your face and knock you over, but it will have a little bit at the back of your mouth and it'll slowly creep in. It's quite nice. So it's different. And so I thought using some honey to counteract the jalapenos would be not quite a sweet and sour, but sort of a hot and sweet would be an interesting concept. So the question is, are we going to use the seeds or no seeds? I'm going to use 1/4 of the seeds, so just a little bit of extra heat. I do this for I roast these without the seeds. I put goat cheese, honey, cayenne pepper, olive oil, and again, without the seeds. Once you roast them, it really is, it takes away most of the heat, but I think a little bit of seeds will help give it a little pop. So I'll do seeds in all but 1/4. So let's dice these up and we'll be ready to go. Again, I'll cook these in extra virgin olive oil, a little salt from our friends Fleur de Salt, which is one of our sponsors. So I always want to thank them for supporting the show and making it possible for me to come back every 6 months and do more filming. We're almost there. I enjoy the of cutting the vegetables. It's very therapeutic. It's very satisfying. As a kid, I used to garden. It was one of my jobs I did for a next door neighbor, and she taught me how to garden. And she had a cook that taught me how to cook, which I really enjoyed. She was wonderful, Ivy Thompson. We'd work in the garden during in the morning, and then lunchtime we'd go out and have a nice formal lunch in the dining room, and then go back and get ourselves dirty and muddied working the flower gardens or the vegetable gardens. It was a fun experience, especially for a 13, 14-year-old kid. Last one, we'll do some garlic. So, how much garlic do you want to do? You know, that's really up to you. I like garlic. Garlic is good for you. So I don't want to overpower it, but I will do 3 cloves, I think. If you want more, knock yourself out, but I think 3 is going to be enough. Always clean as you go. Even though this is a great cutting board, with all the vegetables on there, the real estate gets a little tight. So just take your time. Haste makes waste. We don't want to cut ourselves. Don't have an accident. And with the garlic, I always take out the pith you talk about. It's what delivers it. There it is right there. It comes down from the stem. I'll take that out. It won't be so strong of a smell. There it is. You can see it's just along like a little J. There it is right there. Take that out. One more. You can see it right there. You take that out. Chop this up a little bit. I won't add the garlic until almost everything else is cooked. I don't want to burn it. If you want to make a larger batch, there's really not much difference between cutting 1 pepper or 2 or 3 or 4, a larger pot, and it's about the same amount of work. It just lasts that much longer for you. Okay? So we're good to go. We're going to take it back, run the B-roll, and we'll start the sauté. So we're going to have all of our mise en place set up, all of our pans set up, and it'll make it easy to then saute everything. Once we have them sauteed in the separate pots and pans, then we're going to put it in the big cast iron and let that cook 45 minutes to an hour. If you had a Dutch oven, you could stick it into the oven and let that cook for at a low temperature, 250 or so, for an hour, 2 hours. Just make sure you have enough liquids in there. So turn these on. I don't want it too high of a temperature because I don't want it to burn. So probably we'll start it out to get it up to temperature. We'll probably start off about medium, medium-high, and then I'll move it down to medium. Once we get up to temperature, I'll do the onions first, the Vidalias, and then I'll go to the peppers, the eggplant, and then the tomatoes last. Once the onions are cooked, I'll add the jalapenos. After that's almost completed, I'll add the garlic. I really don't want the garlic to burn, so I'm very careful about that. I'll put 1 little onion in there, wait for that to get up. Same with the eggplant, and same with the tomato. So the tomato's sizzling. I can put that in there. A nice little sizzle there. Trying to get just the tomatoes. I don't want to get the red peppers in there. Give that a little stir. Add some of our Little bit of salt. Onions are starting to get ready. They're sizzling. I can add those in there. It'll only take about 3-4 minutes for the onions to become translucent. Add a little bit more salt in here. Eggplant, that's cooking nicely. Add that in. One little pepper in here, I'll take that guy out. This is ready. Get that coated nicely. Move these around. I'll see about, the eggplant does absorb the oil, so I'm going to add a little bit more oil to this so it doesn't burn and stick. Tomatoes. And add a little salt to the red peppers. Give that a stir. Once I finish with the tomatoes, I'll dump them in the big pan. Add some more oil and get that up to speed. And I'll add the zucchini. Starting to bubble. Add the zucchini. A little more salt. Now normally I would add black pepper to this, but because I'm doing the jalapenos, I don't want to have it too spicy, so I'll taste it once it's all comes together if I'm going to add the black pepper. These are coming nice, little translucent. A few more minutes for that. I'll add the jalapenos to it in about 30 seconds. Give a look-see on the eggplant. This will cook down nicely once it's in the ratatouille, but I definitely want to start the cooking process and get it cooked. Give these guys a toss. And now we'll add the jalapenos, again with a few seeds. Another couple minutes for that. I always keep the handles away. I think these guys are getting close. I can smell the aroma. It's softening up. 2 more minutes on that. This is cooking. Another 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, 4 minutes there. When it's all done, we'll come back, we'll combine it into the pot and then put it back on the stove. There you go. Okay, so just look at these vegetables, the onions, the jalapenos, the garlic, the red peppers, the zucchini, eggplant, all mixed in there. I'll add the chunky tomatoes to it. I'll add some fresh basil to it and also some basil paste and some thyme. We'll mix it all up. I'll put it back on the stove top, take some of the thyme and scrunch it down. Just get the leaves. And then I'll add some of the thyme, leave it whole. And again, we'll add a little bit to counteract the jalapenos. We'll add a little bit of honey to it. Probably about a good 3 tablespoons. Okay. Stir this up, put it back on the heat, and again, you could let this come to since everything's already been cooked, we could just want to bring it up to temperature. If you want a longer roasting, again, you could put it in a Dutch oven, put it in the oven for an hour, 2 hours, but you can see the great color is preserved, the beautiful reds, the eggplant, the herbs. It's a wonderful dish, and it's so easy to make it. Okay, I'll bring it back, and then after it's cooked a few minutes, we'll plate it up. Okay, ratatouille is done. We cooked it for 7 minutes tops. And again, you can see the wonderful colors, the aromas, fantastic. I had some of the crew do a taste test. They volunteered for that. They love my cooking, and they loved it. So we'll plate it up. And you can serve this just by itself. You can serve it as a side. We were talking about taking a nice baguette, cut it in half, a little extra virgin olive oil brushed on, sea salt and pepper, and grill it, put it in the oven, and serve it like that. There you go. A little classic ratatouille with a bit of a twist with the jalapenos and the honey. So nothing like Little Bear honey and ratatouille. Enjoy. Dick Eydt with Bites by Eydt.